Hello my beautiful friends, it's Marta here from Drop of Sunshine and welcome in a video tutorial. Today I wish to warmly invite you to have a look on this beautiful and brand new collection from Textures, which is called The Book Shop, and it's absolutely amazing. Here you can see this lovely collection which contains some dies, stamp set, and there's little ephemera pack to go there as well, and I absolutely fell in love with this collection the second I seen it. Now I don't have the original packaging from the ephemera pack because I already used it up in one of the projects, but today I wish to share with you two fun technique with two different cards which we're gonna be making. I'm gonna be starting from this big stamp set because firstly I want to share with you my trick on how to create a perfect stamped image using this big background stamp set. Rather than mounting it to my stamping platform, what I like to do whenever I am playing with these big stamps like that, I like to place them upside down, make sure I am inking them properly on all the area, and then I am placing my paper from the top. I am pressing firmly with one hand, making sure I'm not moving it, and then the second hand I am making sure I go over entire stamp, so this way I am having the perfect image each time and I don't have those unstamped areas. So here you can see I stamped the image on the piece of the paper, and I always like to use slightly bigger paper so then I could trim it whenever I need it. Now I've decided to distress this paper to make it looking more like this is the old page of the book which was found in a trash can. So I'm gonna be beating up this paper quite a lot today, but this is just a fun idea you can use. I've put a couple of the colors of the distress ink on my page. Usually I mainly use the brush corduroy, and then I think I grab a little bit of the pumice stone as well, and then I am just distressing the paper. Once I color it, I am squeezing it, I am just beating up this paper quite well. Now I add a little drop of the ink to my glass mat, I spray a couple pumps of the water, and I am just adding a couple more splatters. And once it's still damp a little bit from wetting it, I am just squeezing it even more, and then I am rolling over this piece of this little wet area I have, and then my paper is ready. It looks like a really old page, and to give it even more that vibe, I am just going over a couple of those squeeze area with the brush corduroy ink and my brush, just to accent those area. Then I am tearing one side, one of the corner, and I'm just creating this really old beaten up page look here. So you could see this is something fun, something you can use up for yourself and create that interesting background. Once I have my paper ready, I will adhere it to the card base, and today I am going over this A4 A5 size card. So I've just add a little drop of the double-sided tape to the sides of this paper, and then a dash of the liquid glue, and I am just adhering it. I was planning to trim the pages at first, but then later on I've decided to leave this this little like a margin area, because this is how it looks like when it's in a book anyway. So I am adhering the bottom corner slightly below, so it gives me this nice gap, and then I will proceed with embellishing it. I've cut 2 layers of this heart, and this is lovely design. I really like it, and I'm so happy that this die, it actually has this lovely outside shadow piece as well, because this is so much versatility in it, and you can mix and match the colors. That will give you a lot of different ideas. But today I don't want to take away from this page which I've already created, so I'm leaving my dies in white. I've cut them both in from quite thick 250 GSM paper, so they nice and give me this nice dimension once I've put them both white on white look. And here I'm just making sure it's nicely adhered And as you can see here, this really lightened up this card and it's given this nice bright look. And here I've decided to add the sentiment, and I'm going with the sentiment which says love. I don't want to take away from this texture I've created with this heart, so for that, rather than using additional piece of the paper, I'm using the vellum. And I will be stamping the sentiment on the vellum, so to make sure it's gonna be looking nice, I've decided to emboss it. I'm using this gold the gold rose embossing powder which I have here. I am tapping up the excess, and then I will set my powder with the heat tool. And once I'm gonna have it, then I will turn it into a little piece of the like a note from the like a notice book, which's got this like a little spiral bound on the top. And for that, there is a special die which is included in a set, which is very smart, and you can use it for all your paper pieces here. There's two different one you can add as a border, and the other one it's just makes you those little holes, incisions. And here I am just tearing the bottom part, and on the top I will do those little tears with the dies. And to make sure I'm gonna have it match my heart, I just trimmed the whiteness of this piece, and now I will run it through my die cutting machine. And later on I've also trimmed it slightly more, just so it's not going to be taking too much space. And once I was keeping it on this heart, I thought it's not really standing out as much as I would like, so for that I've decided to go one step further. And what I've decided to do to make it look even nicer, I've decided to color the vellum from the back side. I'm also going to be using the little paper clip, which is also a die included in the set, and I just love it. And this is such a smart design, and especially if you will cut it from silver cardstock or emboss it with some silver embossing powder, this really resembles the paper clip. And here this vellum piece didn't stand out to me as much as I would like to, so I'm gonna be coloring it as I've mentioned. And then firstly I wanted to take a marker, but I just thought I don't want to make it too dark, so for that I reach for the pink color distress oxide ink and this little brush, and this helped me to put this very gentle coat of the ink on the back side of the vellum, so not on the side which I already have the sentiment stamp and emboss on it, but I'm adding the color from the back. This really helps the sentiment to stand out, and it's appeared more clearly once you're gonna be reading it. It's just standing out more from the background, and it's helped to read it as well. Here I'm adding a dash of the glue for the paper clip so I could put these two together, and then I will add a little piece of the clear tape underneath the sentiment, so this way it will hide the adhesive and it's not gonna be visible at all once I adhere it to my focal point. I really like the heart. It's just super cool design, and I love the size of it because it's just perfect for the card like that, or it's perfectly matching to the square cards as well, which you will see on the second card in a second. I've decided to lift my focal point a little bit with the double-sided tape just to give it additional dimension and help it to stand out from the background even more. And I just love it how these two compose together, this really old looking page and this nice neat heart on top of it. This is really lovely design, and I know I just absolutely in love with this collection, and I will be using it many more times in my craft room. Here I am finishing off this card, adding those big NUVO drops, which I think they just also add the nice texture. And once I'm gonna finishing, my card is ready. And then in the second part of the video, I'm gonna share with you another fun technique which I've created because firstly, I was planning to emboss this little element and use it on the front of my card. But I've decided that it wasn't really standing too much out and I wanted to keep it for another card which I'm gonna be creating just now. So I've started from cutting this little heart which has this font little cuttings in it, and then I am embossing it with silver powder, and I'm gonna do a triple layer before I will emboss it even more. And this is very fun technique which allows you to create a kind of a metal looking embellishments which are really nice, and this is something which instantly makes your card looking special. And once I have my heart coated in a nice layer of the silver embossing powder, I grab a couple additional powders on hand and I'm opening up them all. And what I have here, I have this chunky gold, a little dash of the blue, rose gold, caramel, and then 2 jars with big powders are gold and silver. And what I'm doing here, I'm reheating that nice layer of the embossing powder, and once it's melted, I am sprinkling the other embossing powders on top so they instantly stick and remelt, embedding together with the silver coat which I already have on the focal point. This technique helps you to create that kind of the old rustic look, like a rusty look metals. And if you compose together silver, some gold with a little bit of the like a reddish tint or like a blue for patina effect, this will really give you that nice effect. Keep yourself your element on a piece of the paper like I have here, because you don't want to those little bits to melt directly to your glass mat, because then you will have to scrape them off. By having this thin layer of the copy paper will protect your surface. And then just go just add as you think. You can do it a little bit less, more. Here you can see the entire heart, how it's turned out, and it's really looking nice. And when I place it back on this busy background with the page, I thought, no, I just want something simpler for this heart to help it stand even more. So I just want to create it on a plain card. So that's why I divide those elements for the two cards, and that page which you can see here, it's already turned into another card with this white heart on top of it. And to make it looking even nicer, I've decided to create this darker border all around, and for that I'm using this gunmetal gray color embossing powder, which I am just adding with a piece of a sponge to all the outside border, and now I am melting it. And because I already have very thick layer of the embossing powders on top of the heart, the embossing once it's melt, it's floating really nice, so it looks like you would almost coat the heart with some like a thick layer of the glossy accent, but and instead of a glossy accent, you do have the embossing powder. Here I have this little background piece which I've created with some couple of the distress inks, and I'm sorry I didn't film it, but I've just used the smoosh technique. I had a couple colors, brown, grayish, and pink on my glass mat, and then sprinkle it with the water and then smoosh my piece on it. And to create the card even nicer and give it a nice texture, I've decided to use one of the stencils which are coming from the older collection from Lou Collins. This is a reflection collection, as I recall it. And then I've added this gray slate paste from the Pretty Greats Gritty, and to give it a nice white wash off effect, what I did, I also go over the borders of this piece with the white embossing powder, and this really give it a nice finish, a nice, you know, it's brighten up the card so it's not appearing as dark. And it's just something which I really like to do, because the white embossing powder is not only giving it nice brighter look, but it also gives a very nice interest border to the card. Here you can see how this heart looks like, and I've decided to use the thanks word stamps which I have from the, I believe that it's Floral Script collection, but also from Textures. And I'm using this Victorian Velvet Distress ink to stamp it. I'm going to be stamping it several times because the distress inks are not as good for stamping, but I wanted this really nice, crisp, vibrant look. So that's why you can see I'm going back and forth several times. And before I will cut it, and this is my recommendation for you as well, make sure you will heat set your stamping image, because you don't want to smush it. Make sure it will be really nicely heat up, so once you're gonna be, you know, cutting it, you're not gonna be smearing those letters. And once I'm happy with it, then I will trim it to give it a nice border all around. So I'm just, you know, placing it on my guillotine and making sure that all four sides are equal. And then this will be sentiment to go on the top of this beautiful focal point. I really like both of those cards. They both have those different techniques, so let me know which this is something you find interesting. Did you try anything like that before, or which one of the cards you prefer, and which one of them is your favorite one? I also have another video to follow right after this one, because I wanted to share with you another card which I've created with the same collection, and I'm launching them both today, as today the collection is appearing. So whoever will be looking on the collection, they could get a proper representation of different techniques and styles, and I hope you will enjoy them, and I hope you will hop on to another video as well. And then here you can see I am just putting the card together. I will just use the double-sided tape, and I'm adding a generous layer of that with a little bit of the glue just to adhere it in the front of my card. And then to create a lovely dimension and additional texture to my card, I am reaching for one of my favorite things in the world, which is this white cord, and I will attach it there as well. And I also use a drop of the hot glue to put the heart down to the paper, and I'm adding the sentiment and the bow towards the right side. And for the sentiment, I need to use a piece of the double-sided foam tape just to level it up with the bow, so it's gonna be you know, standing straight. So I'm adding a piece of the foam tape just to one side of the sentiment, and then the other one will lean on the cord bow. So here is my card. I will show you quickly two close-up look on the cards, and please let me know in a comment which one is your favorite one. Thank you so much for watching. I am wishing you a lovely day and inviting you to my another video tutorial with the same collection. Stay blessed, my friends, and bye bye.